Thank you. Welcome back to the February 25th, 2025 meeting of the Hauppauge Union Free School District Board of Education. Please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Number 4 on the agenda is the appointment of acting district clerk, Ms. Crescenzo. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. We are voting on appointing her as the acting district clerk from today, February 25th, 2025, through June 30th, 2025. I will make the motion. Mr. Scrito seconds. Any discussion? All those in favor? 7-0. Congratulations, and I feel sorry for you at the same time. Yes. Questions or comments from the community concerning tonight's agenda only? Yes.
Should I stand or am
Sure.
I the only one?
Only because we broadcast this online, so everyone can hear you. Thank you.
Yes, I see we have some exemptions for firefighters and ambulance workers, and I completely agree with that. However, wanted to know, it would just be logical, why wouldn't the town include police officers? That is the first line that people would automatically think to call. And even if it's a fire or you need an ambulance, you're not looking up the ambulance number, you're not looking up the fire department's number. Everyone calls 911. It goes through the police department. The police department are your first responders. And after I was looking at it, and I've never been to one of these meetings before, but I'm part of the community, and I was thinking, those are old, and we have a lot of police officers in this community that are on the job 10, 15, 17 years, 20 years. I think they deserve it also to have the same partial exemption that you're offering to the firefighters. And actually, a lot of the police officers drive those ambulances too.
So I'm going to have the attorney answer your question, the board's attorney answer your question, but just in full disclosure, we have 2 of those police officers on our board, Mr. Buscarino and Mr. Michaels.
We all call 911.
Yep.
You don't call 922, 923. Everyone calls 911.
Absolutely.
So, I think the police officers deserve to be on that same agenda that you're offering for the firefighters and the ambulance workers.
Understood. Thank you.
I think that's a really great question. In terms of what the school district board is allowed to do, the tax exemptions come from state law, and that state law that they're voting on tonight only addresses volunteer ambulance workers and volunteer firefighters. So pursuant to that law, there's no authority. Now, there may be another exemption that applies to police officers, but that's not something that the board is voting on.
All right, I completely understand that, but if you could also look into if there's any other exemption that you can offer to police officers that would fall within the realm of the state guidelines, that would be wonderful.
We will definitely do that.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments concerning tonight's agenda only? With that, we will open public hearing number 1. Public hearing number 1 is a hearing on RPTL 466-A, volunteer firefighter and volunteer ambulance worker tax exemption. Ms. Sienna, would you mind just giving us a little bit of a background exactly what this is?
Sure. So public hearing 1 for firefighter and ambulance workers. Currently, there's a exemption, a 10% reduction in assessed property value for those that are eligible. There is new law replacing old statute. Tonight, the resolution is looking to continue the 10% reduction for volunteer firefighter and ambulance workers, and new language in that law is looking to lower the minimum service requirement from 5 years to 2. The impact to the taxpayer would be little to no impact, as there are only a few qualified.
Thank you. Any questions from the board concerning public hearing number 1? Mr. Scrito?
So this is Sandra once again. Could pretty much no impact or very low impact.
Yes.
On this one, because I just want to go, like, want to make sure.
Thank you. Any further questions from the board concerning public hearing number 1? Any questions from the community concerning public hearing number 1? With that, I'll make a motion to close the public hearing. I'll make the motion, Mr. Scrito seconds. Any discussion? All those in favor of closing the public hearing? Thank you, 7-0. Public hearing number 1 is closed. Number 7 on the agenda is the adoption of the resolution, which continues the 10% reduction and also lowers the minimum service requirement from 5 to 2 years. This is what we just discussed. The vote on this will be by roll call. I will make the motion to adopt the resolution. Do I have a second? Thank you, Mr. Scrito. Any discussion? Very good. By roll call, Mr. Barchet votes yes. Mr. Scrito? Yes. Mr. Scrito votes yes. Mr. Buscarino?
Yes.
Mr. Buscarino votes yes. Ms. Collins?
Yes.
Mrs. Collins votes yes. Dr. Craffa?
Yes.
Dr. Craffa votes yes. Mr. Kiley?
Yes.
Mr. Kiley votes yes. And Mr. Michaels?
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Michaels. Mr. Michaels votes yes. The resolution is thereupon declared duly adopted on this date, February 25th, 2025. With that, I will open public hearing number 2, which is a public hearing regarding Section 467, tax exemption to certain qualified persons 65 years of age or older. Ms. Sienna, could you give us a little background on this, please?
Sure. Public hearing number 2 for those that qualify over the age of 65 plus. The current language and current resolution adopted by the board last year, base income to qualify was $29,000 on a sliding scale up to $37,400. The new option is to increase the base income to $50,000 on a sliding scale up to $58,400. This would also follow the town of Islip and the town of Smithtown, including schools, a part of town of Islip and town of Smithtown. And the impact to the taxpayer would be, based on today's information that we have and current tax rates, between $25 to $55 per household.
$25 to $55 per year per household?
Per year per household. Thank you for clarifying.
Any questions from the board concerning public hearing number 2? Mr. Scrito?
And Mr. Sienna, you said as far as today's information, do we anticipate any change in this? It's not going to go from $55 to $500, and then we got some explaining.
Right. So it is possible that somebody moves out. It's possible that somebody moves in between now and when the window closes. But not a significant shift. No, correct.
And then the other choice, because the state is putting this upon the schools, is it could be left alone the same way it's been now.
Yes.
Because the $50 that the taxpayer pays extra is making up the difference. So somebody has to pay extra.
Yes.
Thank you. Is the idea of the updated resolution to ensure or to hope that more people qualify for the exemption?
Yes.
Understood. Withdrawn. Any further questions or comments from the board concerning public hearing number 2, Mr. Scrito?
The resolution passes, Mrs. Sienna, and we find out it's now $5. Is this something that can be taken back next year?
Yes.
Or is it set forth?
Yes. So wouldn't be anything mid-year that we'd be able to do. This time next year, prior to March 1st, 2026, we'd be able to revise that resolution, yes.
So the information being incorrect, it is not set aside.
That's correct.
And how confident are we in the information that's been provided that has enabled us to make the estimate that you discussed of $25 to $55 per parcel per year?
Very confident. I have worked with both the assessor of the town of Islip and the assessor of the town of Smithtown. I've received exemption impact reports. I've received different spreadsheets to be able to tie into these numbers based on assessed value and number of parcels or households.
Okay, and if we're wildly wrong for some reason, and I know you won't be, but God forbid we're wildly wrong for some reason and the impact is much more than we predict or expect, this is a yearly enactment or a yearly adoption, correct? And we can
Correct.
always adjust on a going forward basis. And this is for tax year 2026?
Yes.
Gotcha. Any further questions concerning public hearing number 2 from the board? Any questions from the community concerning public hearing number 2? With that, I will make a motion to close the public hearing. I'll make a motion, Mr. Scrito seconds. Any discussion? All those in favor? 7-0. Public hearing number 2 is closed. Number 9 on the agenda is the resolution related to public hearing number 2. This resolution encapsulates the increase of base income from $29,000 to $50,000 and the top end from $37,400 to $58,400. I will make the motion. Do I have a second? Thank you, Mr. Kiley. Any discussion on the resolution? By roll call, Mr. Barchet votes yes. Mr. Scrito?
Yes.
Mr. Scrito votes yes. Mr. Buscarino?
Yes.
Mr. Buscarino votes yes. Mrs. Collins?
Yes.
Mrs. Collins votes yes. Dr. Craffa?
Yes.
Dr. Craffa votes yes. Mr. Kiley?
Yes.
Mr. Kiley votes yes. Mr. Michaels?
Yes.
Mr. Michaels votes yes. Thereon, this resolution was thereupon duly declared or declared duly adopted on February 25th, 2025. With that, I will open public hearing number 3, which is number 10 on the agenda. This is a public hearing regarding Section 467, tax exemption to certain qualified persons with disabilities. Ms. Sienna, can you give us a little background on this, please?
Sure. Public hearing number 3 regarding disability exemption is looking to follow the same language and same parameters as public hearing number 2 for those that are 65 plus. What that means is that the base income would shift from $29,000 on a sliding scale of $37,400 to increase to base income $50,000 on a sliding scale up to $58,400. The difference here is that there is little to no impact as there is only a very small number of parcels that qualify.
Very good. And other than, whereas public hearing number 2 dealt with persons 65 years of age or older, public hearing 3 deals with persons with disabilities. Is that accurate? Everything else is the same?
Correct, yes.
Okay. Questions or comments from the board concerning public hearing number 3? Mr. Scrito?
Just to reiterate from the same as number 2, if the impact is a lot higher on the community as a whole, it's not something that's sent.
Yes, we would revisit prior to March 1st, 2026.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And again, you've stated that there are very few parcels that actually qualify
Yes.
for this. Is the idea of increasing the base income to hopefully have more people qualify for the exemption?
Yes.
Okay, but even if more people qualify, our prediction is still that it would have little to no impact
Yes.
on other taxpayers?
Correct.
Very good. Any other questions or comments from the board concerning public hearing number 2? Questions or comments from the community concerning public hearing number 2? With that, I will make a motion to close, public hearing number 3, rather. With that, I'll make a motion to close public hearing number 3. I'll make a motion, Mr. Scrito seconds. Any discussion? All those in favor? 7-0, thank you. Public hearing number 3 is now closed. Number 11 on the agenda is, Number 11 on the agenda is the resolution concerning public hearing number 3. And again, this resolution increases the base income from $29,000 to $50,000 and the top end from $37,400 to $58,400. And again, this is concerning persons with disabilities. Do I have I'll make the motion to approve or adopt the resolution. Do I have a second?
Second.
Ms. Collins, thank you. Any discussion? By roll call. Mrs. Collins?
Yes.
Mrs. Collins votes yes. Mr. Michaels?
Yes.
Mr. Michaels votes yes. Mr. Scrito?
Yes.
Mr. Scrito votes yes. Mr. Buscarino?
Yes.
Mr. Buscarino votes yes. Dr. Craffa?
Yes.
Dr. Craffa votes yes. Mr. Kiley?
Yes.
Mr. Kiley votes yes, and Mr. Barchet votes yes. The resolution was thereon declared duly adopted today, February 25th, 2026. Number 12 on the agenda, questions and comments, 2025, sorry. Questions and comments from the community concerning anything related to the district whatsoever? With that, I'll take a motion for an adjournment. Our next meeting will be March 4th, 2025, our community meeting on that date. I'll make the motion for the adjournment. Mr. Michaels seconds. Any discussion? Yes, Mr. Scarito?
Lindsay, is the veterans exemption still intact? Just so I make, do we ask now?
It should be.
Okay, so that didn't change?
No,
This
nothing
is-
changed with that. All the exemptions that you've passed in the past are still in effect.
Okay. Thank you.
Any further discussion on the motion for an adjournment? Very good. I'll call the motion. Mr. Barchet calls the motion second. Mr. Scarito, thank you. All those in favor? 7-0. We are adjourned. We have no executive session this evening. We've completed all our business earlier. God bless Hauppauge and God bless the United States. Thank you.